Okay, let's wrap this up. Rare Replay was the catalyst for a series that I wanted to do for a long time. What began as a 3-part series turned into 4, with its own prelude, and now an epilogue. I've talked plenty about playing the games on the replay, but what about the replay itself?
I bought this thing new because I'm an OG Rareware fan, or so I thought. More on that later. I put it in my Xbone and, I'm still not used to the idea of installing games on a console. It kinda ticks away one of my arguments for becoming a console gamer. Now, I'm not the type of gamer that complains in the fashion of, remember when you could just turn on a console and play? But, remember when you could just turn off a console? PlayStation 4 is leading that charge. Back to installation hell. The Rare Replay took an extraordinarily long time to just install, and I learned that the disc acts as a license for the 9 360 games and remakes, and begins downloading them. So pop in the disc and walk away, and make dinner, and paint the garage, and take a road trip, and then hang yourself with the power cord. I own some collections that are just lists because, well, who cares about the interface anyway? But Rare Replay is a refined stage and gallery experience. I can't understand a word they're saying. The advertisements profess 10,000 potential gamerscore points. Yep, in the end, we're all cheap and whores. This comes way of the Milestone system I spoke of in a video before. All the old games have been wired up with achievements/milestones, and the 360 games just maintain the same achievements, and gamerscore summations are the milestones. The time span isn't exactly 30 years, there's some pretty sloppy math involved. Even if you account for just the collections game time span, it gets even more sloppy. Yes, there are 30 games, but you will probably notice some missing landmark titles. You see, while under Nintendo's reign, they worked on properties originally created by Nintendo, which dictated who retained ownership after the buyout. Let's go to my game collection to demonstrate. Donkey Kong Country, retained by Nintendo. Donkey Kong Country 2, retained by Nintendo. Donkey Kong Country 3, retained by Nintendo. Jet Force Gemini, retained by Rareware. Perfect Dark, retained by Rareware. Donkey Kong 64, retained by Nintendo. Blast Corps, retained by Rareware. Star Fox Adventure, retained by Nintendo. Conker's Bad Fur Day, retained by Rareware. GoldenEye 007, retained by nobody, really. James Bond is its own entity as an entertainment franchise, which EA bought the rights and had for a while. Then, evil equivalent Activision dug its claws in and nullified one of my old statements.
Well, what about GoldenEye? Why can't I download that game? Don't get your hopes up, there's just too many fingers in that pudding.
But the whole barrier between console manufacturers is kinda iffy anyway. Donkey Kong 64 is on the Virtual Console, and it contains Jetpack, even though it's technically owned by Microsoft now. Microsoft also owns Minecraft, so if I were to buy Minecraft on the Wii U, who gets my money? Don't bother answering, it was a trick question. I would never buy Minecraft! What's on the collection? Well, it reaches all the way back to the ZX Spectrum home computer days, for better and for worse, beginning with Jetpack. Back then, I guess the company name was Ultimate Play the Game. I never knew that. Next is what I guess you could call a sequel, Lunar Jetman. This is where you crank up the cheats as you learn that these were not feel good as you breeze through the game. This was get as much mileage in as few kilobytes as possible. Kilobytes? If even that. Don't get this mistaken, this is not Nintendo hard. This is impossible. I continue my Spectrum kick with Attic Attack. Find parts of the Master Key while fighting ghouls in the house. Right, just gonna turn on infinite lives. This game made my head hurt, as the rooms lost distinction and began to blur. I started taking screenshots to create a bread trail back, and then I realized, oh, internet, our savior. Now, Saberwolf. I understand preserving history, it has its place, but some things I wouldn't mind forgetting. Were we really this bored in the 80s? This is the map? This is a mess! Since I was determined to get all the milestones, I found a video online that navigated every square. It had to be every square because the required 4 amulets are randomly placed, and I followed it every step of the way. It took hours! Pause the game, unpause the video. Pause the video, unpause the game. Attic Attack made my head hurt. Saberwolf made my brain leak out of my ears. Underveld and Night Lore I understand to be continuations of Saberwolf, so I'm just gonna skip ahead with prejudice. Gun Fright, gunslinging duels with criminals in the Wild West. I have to admit, I kinda like this one, once I figured out 2 things. Don't shoot the kids, and the kids are pointing in the direction of the criminal. Once you face off with the criminal, you are shot impossibly fast. That's when Rewind comes in handy. There are 20 criminals in all, some are pulled from Wild West legends, and some are... what? Moving out of the Spectrum era, I found Slalom. It's just skiing down the mountain and avoiding trees. This game involves liberal use of rewind and butts. Ugh, I'd rather be playing Donkey Kong Country 3. Arbitrarily skipping ahead, RC Pro-Am. Hey, my family had this game. Yeah, and we hated it. This is not a typical hate like, oh, I hate heavy rain. This is kid hate. The kind of frustration that is palpable. You don't know what to do and nobody's gonna help you because nobody can help you, nor do they care to help. But now, fire up those cheats and I steamrolled all the milestones in one sitting. Rare Replay has healed a lot of mental scarring here. Now, if I could just get the same for Temple of Doom, Myst, and Rad Racer. Rad Racer! Arbitrarily skipping ahead again, Snake, Rattle, and Roll. I watched my friend Jeff, Jeff, power through this game on an actual NES cartridge. He would do cooperative mode with his brother when they were kids, and he's really good. Now, when I'm playing on Xbox One, it sounds like dubstep. Okay, leaving the NES era. Oh, Battletoads Arcade, Sarah will like that. The Super Nintendo era is kinda deficient, and we all know why. Killer Instinct Gold. This is where the cheats stop. Oh boy. Mortal Kombat 9 proved to me that I can like a fighting game. Street Fighter 4 proved to me that I should never trust a fighting game. And that's why I play Smash Brothers, because it's not a fighting game. Killer Instinct Gold and its combos are most similar to the second game listed. So the only way that I see myself gaining any skill at this game is if I had a fighter pad. Anyone have an Xbox One fighter pad that I could bum off of them? Try as I might with a normal controller, I can't do anything. What's that song in the background?
You know, I'm not sure if many people realize that I did not make that Destructoid intro. So, in all the years I've ever made this statement, it has never been more true. Blame it on that guy!
Now we've entered the realm of familiarity, where I've contemporarily played some of these titles. Will I ever cover these outliers? I don't know. Telstorm What to Play may present a chance. As you can undoubtedly tell, I haven't played all 30 games. When I set out on a Rare Replay game, I play for all the milestones. And I can't just do all the fun and interesting games in a row. Occasionally have to jump back to the Dark Ages so we can spread out the aneurysms. The milestones are the key to unlocking various things, by far the best being the making of videos. It's hilarious hearing them skirt around the issue of a lengthy history with Nintendo, by not trying at all.
Nintendo.
The N64.
Nintendo
Mario Kart.
Mario 64. Nintendo Mario-esque.
DS.
Giant turd.
Buy the Rare Replay, you'll get your money's worth. Even without the Donkey Kongs, it's still full of good stuff. Such as Perfect Dark Zero. No, really. Okay, remember when you played it new and it was just bad? Add on the fact that it has not aged well. At all. Playing it now is simply side-splitting. See, there's always hope for a
Giant turd.